So, a lovely set of fences. First horse ready to go. And I think we're in for a proper jumping competition. We had a two-phase competition earlier on, as Charlotte said. That was won by the United States, is Laura Kraut. And a real sharp competition that was. Against the clock, a two-phase class, but this is out and out jump-off class, all about show jumping, a lot of related distances, a lot of tall verticals, very light fences here at Windsor, nothing wrong with that, but all to play for, and the first of the really serious five-star classes, because it's a five-star status show this year for the first time. It's gone up from an ordinary two-star show to a three-star. Last year it was four-star, now full-blown five-star. You can't get any higher than that, and that's what's attracted so many of the world's best riders. And they're not only after the prize money, they're after ranking points. So important to get them into the top shows. If you don't get the money, you don't get the ranking points, you don't get the chance of the big money. And Abdel Said starts us off for Egypt. He's based in Belgium, but a very competitive man. Got a good string of horses, just sold a very good horse, if needs must. If someone makes you an offer you can't refuse, then occasionally you have to pull the trigger. And he's one of the many that have done that recently with very good horses. Horses change hands for huge sums of money these days. And we'll have a look around the course. I'm lucky enough to be joined by international rider again, James Fisher. James, just have a look around for us, would you? As Abdul goes around, he's jumped the first three.
Yeah, it was nice 7 strides. A lot of horse will take 8 strides into triple combination, 7 to this Royal Windsor Oxer. It's a lovely competitive horse. Hope van Scherpendonder. Abdul sort of stepped this one up when he sold California to Edwina Tops Alexander, and this has really risen to the occasion, and Abdul's won some really good classes. Unfortunately, he had the plank down, so we won't see him come back for the jump off, but he's had a really good run. He's got a nice supporting horse called Itchy van Lembroek that's also doing a good job. Just picked up another fault in that combination. That's going to, I think, catch a few people out. It's very wishy-washy colour and very delicate in its sort of design, and has a sort of style effect going in. It's quite narrow and takes a bit of jumping. So 8 faults. It's you know, I think it's quite tricky in places. It's not a huge course, but I think it's tricky. We're going to see a few fences falling in different places.
It's delicate more than anything else.
It is, yeah, like that plank he had down, that Rolex green plank. You don't need to breathe on it. Then you've got the swans, and that's quite a tricky vertical into that double that he's just had down. I think that's the main areas we're going to see faults. Slightly funny line to the last. Some horses could drop off the bridle, and you know, if they do decide to go on the 6th to the last, they could end up floundering a little bit. So
just a little bit,
a few areas to have.
I thought it was a nice course for a horse with a lot of care. You need a bit of jump, and it's only 150, only 150. That's quite a big track, but not quite a Grand Prix track, as I said.
Yeah.
Hani Bisharat now from Jordan. He rides Bowie's Head. This is Angleside bred grey gelding by the great valet Valuda Rouet.
Yeah, he's had that vertical. Not everybody is a fan of a vertical to start with, and Ibrahim probably isn't a fan of it today.
It's a big feature of courses these days at top level, isn't it? A big skinny vertical to start off with, whereas most people would normally prefer a sort of a sloping oxer.
I would anyway, yeah.
To get them going forward and get them up in the air. A bold fence to start off with. That's quite a skinny fence, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the nature of this track. And again, so you just sort of stated it really. It's 150 in height, but in terms of design, difficulty, it's quite tricky, I think. You know,
I think so.
Into that double there.
I thought it was very short into that.
Yeah, and there's nothing to back the horses off. We had that double in the national classes, and horses just didn't respect it. You know, they had a double of verticals at 140, and there was a lot of horses just sort of leant on it and tapped it. So that's quite a surprising score, really, for Ibrahim, because this horse has won quite a bit in recent months, and it's a decent horse. So
I thought it was, you know, down that last line, it just take a little bit of jumping, you know, as you said, that double is a very pastel shade double, and it's a tall vertical going in, shortish stride, there's the vertical, tall vertical going in to that oxer coming out, and then a funny old 6 round the corner to the last, going right towards the pocket, to the entrance to the arena. Giorgio Bucci goes next. He's been going really, really well, and he was third in the Grand Prix here last year. He likes it here at Windsor. He's glad to be back. And this is Dreandra, a Dutch-bred horse, formerly ridden by Ireland's Michael Hutchinson. So he will have had a good education. It's a mare, actually, and a nice mare she is too, by Cathina Z, out of a Sheraton mare.
I have actually one out of the same mother, and that's called Giandra.
Right.
And she's a 6-year-old, but she's off injured at the moment, which is a bit of a shame. But I actually showed it to Pia Giorgio a few months ago when I first had her, and you know, she's a real live wire. So obviously a mum there that's got some quality genes.
What do you mean by a live wire?
She's by
sharp.
Andy Armill, yeah, a little bit sharp, but out of the same mother as this. So
this one looks very sober, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's slightly different, but there we go, another fault, and that's a different fence again, but again that double is catching him out. I
thought that stepped a little bit short in that double there to that front rail.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like a tricky thing. It's very clever of the course builders today. They're not catching him out with size and height. It's all to do with technical difficulty and good use of the fences, and just brings a different aspect into it.
Yeah. Well, we're not doing very well at the moment, are we? But it'll get better. We've got 2 8s and a retired out of 3. But a lot of top names to come. We've had 3 pretty good people to start off with. We're short of people of talent in either horses or riders. But at the moment, as you say, it's just tricking them a little bit. Let's see how this well-established partnership can go now. Tiffany Foster, the Canadian lady, young lady, and a very talented one too. Rides for Artisan Farms and Torrey Pine Stables and Eric Lamar's and the Ziegler family. Great team, great outfit in Canada. The Zieglers, owners of the year on several occasions in their native Canada. And this is a horse that came from Ben Mayer, Triple X. Ben rode him in major championships and major Grand Prix. And he's gone very well for Tiffany. 15 now, he should know his job, and he certainly does. He's a horse with a big jump. And this lady, she's just missed out in a couple of Olympic Games, Jimmy, hasn't she? 4th in the team in Rio. And
great performance in Rio, and
they were unlucky, I thought, not to get a bronze there, weren't they?
Oh, look at that again.
And also she was team 5th in London. That was a bit sneaky.
It was.
That's a tricky line, that, you know.
It is.
It's riding bad, isn't it?
I walked in and I knew from having jumped this in the national classes that it was going to cause some trouble. I was walking it with Ben Mayer actually, and I said it may not look much, but it doesn't jump well. And it's unusual that Triple X, you know, with all the experience that one's had, Olympic Games and all the championships and Grand Prix it's jumped, it's looked at that fence 11. So just shows you there's a lot more to this course or to this arena than meets the eye. You can't come in here expecting your horse just to take it on. You've got to be at the ready, and that is a surprise because one of my favourites really.
Well, I've seen him have an odd fence now. I've never seen him have a stop.
No, it's just a cheeky one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Coming into the collection ring, but I think these are quite delicate obstacles. I don't think there's a lot of weight to any of these jumps, and I think it's going to be the case for the whole show.
Just holding him off that a little bit and dragged it off behind. Anyway, there you go. Laura Crouch goes next. As Charlotte said in her build-up that she won the previous class here, she won the 2-phase, and it was no ordinary 2-phase either. It was quite competitive. They went like bullets, the ones that were really trying to give it Top Gun, and she was just that bit faster than the rest. Didn't win it by very much, but that was enough. Been going very well as Laura. She's got a great team of horses now, and she's 17th in the world you know, and mixing it in between a lot of teaching and bringing on young horses, and that she does well to occupy that position. Her and her partner, Nick Skelton. Nick retires here on Sunday. Him and Big Star, the Widdowson's great horse, Big Star, will retire simultaneously after the Grand Prix here on Sunday, the Rolex Grand Prix. This is jumping a good round, James.
Class, yeah.
Got
I was just saying it's so simple to the other, very similar to the other horse. And can she back off this double? Oh, exhibition. This is a 6 to the last, a little bit off it. But she's through and a time fault, so that's was it a couple of time faults? And she wasn't really hanging about, was she?
She wasn't. No, that's a surprise, really.
Can they change that? Have we got far enough into the class?
Well, they've gone. I personally don't think they'll change it, but they've had more than three completions, haven't they? They've had the 3 completions.
So it is clear then. They've corrected the time. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was something wrong there with the picture and the caption.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't a time fault round, was it?
No, I think they've extended that behind us. They've extended the time, and that was a clear round. So that's good. That was class.
Now Scott Brash goes next. Can he give us our first clear with this good mare? Tina Fletcher rode her for a while before him, and she's okay. She's 16 now, but she was off for a couple of years with injury, so she's relatively low mileage. She's come back again now and back on the comeback trail again.
And she won the big Grand Prix in Doha, Al Shikab.
Good mare. I've always liked this mare.
Yeah,
she's lovely.
Sanctos took it. Obviously it was amazing, and perhaps took a little bit of the focus away from Ursula, because Ursula was off. But Scott has always maintained that this horse is one of the best he's ridden.
She does it so easily, doesn't she? Just a nice loping sort of canter, and very relaxed. Ooh, that was a bit careless.
Yeah.
Very relaxed way about it. Goes like a maid horse, like an old horse, doesn't she?
Real twist there. That wasn't predicted. I don't think it was a really odd jump.
Let's just see what he does down here. Just see how difficult this line looks.
Yeah, well, Scott's had one down, and he won't be so protective of it finishing. He's going to let the horse, find its way a little bit, because she's certainly a little bit 6s and 7s to what he would want to be.
Yeah, just down that last line, just letting her sort herself out a little bit, wasn't he? But she'll be better off for having had a jump round here. She's been off for a while, so there you go.
But you wouldn't expect that. I mean, I saw her jumping, in Mexico, and it's just different. Jumping on different surfaces, you get different results, and this is certainly slightly different to what they've been used to.
How can you, for our viewers, can you just define that a little bit?
Well, example,
what's different about this then?
I went to Mexico to see the jumping that was on grass. You perhaps go to Monaco and to the show there, and it's on sand, white sand, very small, not so many things to look at. And I think Windsor's different because of the surrounding, stands, the spectators, the jump material, the theme. There must be something different, otherwise we wouldn't get so many slightly strange results.
Well, here's a man that knows this arena very well indeed. Tim Stockdale. He will have been here for, like yourself, every year for many years, and jumping in all the competitions. So many rings here as well, young horse classes and amateur classes. Everything you can think of where horses are concerned.
Yeah, well, Tim, as I said earlier, he sold his best horse and has had to reshuffle, and is in that process at the moment.
You can't have the money on the horse, can you?
No, it's difficult for him. He's sort of come here knowing he's going to have a little bit of a tough 3 days, but hoping that he can get a result and bring the horses a little bit further along the road. So yeah, it's a tough thing. Is he going to do the last? No. I think that he's going to call it a day and wipe the slate at that, because these horses are sort of growing in their sort of confidence and experience, and you've just got to take that into consideration, and Tim wisely has left it at that.
Yeah, one or two of these riders that have had an early offence or two down, they're not attaching much importance to it towards the end of the round, because these fences, they're very light indeed, and if a horse has a rub at them on the way round, it'll only be educational, it's not a hurtful rub at all, and because they're so light. 69 seconds is the time allowed, incidentally. So we just see with subsequent horses how tight that is. I don't think it's too bad, actually.
I think that's right, Steve.
You think it's what?
I think it's 69 seconds, yeah. It's,
when I walked the course, I asked Kelvin what the time allowed was. He said, I don't know, I haven't finished measuring it yet. And to be honest, I didn't have time to go back and ask him, but we'll verify that time allowed for you.
Well, this is somebody's not, if he's clear, he's not going to have time faults, because Nicola Philipparts with Ostina Sitter, he's absolutely set off a real hot pace and cutting the corners, and if this was a table A class straight against the clock, he would probably be featuring in the jump off.
He always rides fairly forward anyway, doesn't he? Fairly attacking sort of rider. This is a good mare, actually. She's ridden formerly by Dirk de Meersman, good Belgian rider, chef de keep, or former chef de keep of the Belgian Nations Cup teams. And a very good job he made of that too. Oh my goodness me, that was a dive, wasn't it?
He sort of made it quite an open 5 there, and nothing to do with the way he came in, but it's quite a loose 5 for some of these horses going in there, and there's just nothing there for the horses to really back off.
There's no 6 there at all, and it's just a bit on the front end on the 5, isn't it?
Yeah, they just see straight through it, and that horse just sort of half paddled as it took off, and you can just see that it just didn't like it. It's going straight towards the collecting ring as well. I mean, Tiffany Foster with Triple X spooked at number 11, so there must be a little bit something the horses see that we're not seeing.
I wouldn't think there's a lot. I didn't think when I walked it anyway. I mean, I stepped it at 26 of mine, which, to me, that's just a normal 5 at this level. But I didn't think there was anything untoward about it. I did think it was a bit short when it, just got there on a long, flat, dead stride. But I thought it was a bit short in the double itself to that front rail of the Oxer.
Yeah.
Anyway, no clear round yet. And what am I talking about? We have, haven't we? Laura Kraut was clear. Sorry. So, on we go. Alberto Zorzi goes next. Stable jockey to Jan Tops. And he rides Rackham Joe. Stallion, this one. 12-year-old by Diamond de Senni. Been ridden by Edwina Tops Alexander quite a bit, and by Eduardo de Andrade Costa. Sun's come out, nice afternoon now. Blustery, horrible sort of morning. Rain showers, windy, miserable day, but suddenly turned for the better.
Yeah, Alberto was third with us in Versailles last week, in the Grand Prix, in the Renault Grand Prix, and formerly ridden by, well, the normal riders, Athena and Nassus, who's just off at the moment, but Alberto's done a great job with all the horses he's riding for Steltops. He's the man in form really at the moment, but he's not going to be for this one today. And it's going to get boring for us to keep mentioning the fences that are going down, but it so happens to be that line, and it's really catching them out. And Laura Kraut is looking quite comfortable there. She can relax in the stands and see who else is going to join her, because it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of clears today the way it's going.
Well, they're certainly not jumping it very well, are they? Let's see what Michael, he can put a bit of his magic, inject a bit of his magic into the competition. Because, as I say, they're not jumping it particularly well, but this is one that could possibly jump it well. She's a good mare, 11-year-old mare by Locarno. She spent a lot of time with Holly Smith and with George Whittaker.
Yeah, won that great Grand Prix in Antwerp a few weeks ago.
That's what I say, you know, she's a good mare, isn't she? A jumper. Lovely technique, lovely in front. Snaps her front legs away, throws the back end away behind her. And Michael, you know, we said earlier on he can ride anything in that first class, but, you know, you give him a real star, and he's as good as anybody in the world, isn't he?
Oh, he is, yeah, he's so consistent. He reads the game brilliantly.
I think these two Whitakers are amazing, really. Not only because they've got so much ability and have kept it for so long, but they kept their enthusiasm, don't they?
Yeah, they're
as crazy about the job as they've ever been.
And it's probably tougher now than it's ever been, and they're probably riding more than
that was unlucky.
they did before.
Well, exactly. And all the travelling. She jumped that super, that double. Just unlucky there, just that front rail of that 9th fence. For the first time that's gone down.
Just inside the time there at 68.74, so
there's a couple.
He wasn't hanging about, was he?
No, he wasn't. He was sharp. I don't think the time should have been altered, though. I think it's there's enough time to jump it, but they just can't hang about, can they? Anyway, just one down. Williams goes next for Britain. This big strapping 17-year-old gelding he is now, Titus, Dutch bred by Lancelot. Owned by Guy and Charlotte Baines.
It's just had an early fence.
He wouldn't just be the easiest, would he?
No, it's had a change of rider. Obviously, Guy brought it to our attention. Bought it from Eric Larnan, where Nick Freens did started off in the 2-star Grand Prix, and Guy took it and, you know, he's won some fantastic classes. And it was in between that Edwina Tops Alexander has ridden it, and Guy fortunately got it back. He's just lost something under his saddle, I think a gel pad or something, so his girth will be a little bit looser for that.
It was never going to be easy off a forward stride like that, but as you say, you know, it's just riding a little bit on the long side, isn't it?
It is.
For some horses.
It's difficult. I think Michael added the stride into that double. And didn't have the Oxer before. I think, you know, it's in the riders' minds now. That's what they'll be talking about in the collecting ring. How to ride that line. Can you get the 6 and make enough space? So
nobody's actually found the perfect line to it yet, have they? The perfect answer to it.
No, I think it depends what you're riding. If you've got something that is very easy to change stride and to shorten, then I think it's possible to risk the back bar of number 9 and drop short and try to take the 6 strides. But
Laura Krautzor's jumped it very well, in fairness. But, you know, it's no surprise that she's the only clear as well. And this is a talented young lady from Switzerland. Jannica Sprunger. This RS CMS Dutch bred stallion. 12-year-old. He's been with Jannica since, well, 6 years, so they know each other well enough. They've got a good record. It's an old horse's course, James, I would say, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's not a novice course to jump this thing. They've got to really pick their way around it.
Yeah, it helps when you've got something with mileage, but you see Triple X, as much as that had, it still had a bit of a look. And Jannica's having to ride this quite strong and through the bridle, so already picked up 8 faults. She's now based in Holland with Pier Giorgio Bucci, her partner, and Boodle. So they've got a good stable together.
You know, the biggest problem, I don't know whether you agree with me, James, from that 9 to 10 to that double, it's a very forward 5 and a very starey upright and a short distance in the double. There's no way not many horses could get 6 in there, or whether they even want 6, because, you know, and it's so committed. They're so much on their front end, on the front end going into it, aren't they?
Yeah, the course pullers nowadays, they tend to take the fillers out. So when you look at that fence 10, there's 3 poles and a very low filler in the bottom, so you can see straight through it. I think, you know, a few years ago you'd have added maybe 2 or 3 more poles or done something to fill it in.
Yeah.
And so less is the thing that the course builders are looking at nowadays. More poles, less fillers, less ground line.
Yeah, but I don't know whether you'd agree or whether many people would agree with me. I think this is a 150 track, okay, but when you're talking about Grand Prix, these modern bred show jumpers, they jump 160 for the fun of it these days.
Yeah, they do.
A 160 vertical's nothing to them. So therefore they've got to make it a bit light, a bit gappy, make the time a bit difficult, make the distances a bit difficult to get the, when you're talking about riders like this one, for example, Laura Rennick, she's as good a lady rider, in my opinion, as there would be in the world. And you give her a good horse, a 150 or 160 track's nothing to her, and a lot of riders like her. And look at the way that she's just handling this situation here, clear so far.
Yeah, this is one owned by Nancy Pinchens, rider of Yasmin Pinchens, and it is jumping so far so good. Clear, but there we are.
It's a different fence again.
Different fence,
yeah, totally different. Now this horse should get there on the 5. But it's a forward 5. Ooh, and nicely done, nicely ridden.
Yeah, had a rattle but left it, and she's run out at that as well. That's the same as Triple X. Isn't that strange? Again, you got 5 and 5. There's very little recovery time. You get through that double. The horse really tried out of that double. They can see the collecting ring and the horse is moving, and I think it just takes their concentration.
They've made so much effort up that line over those 3 fences and that distance. By the time they get to that fence, 1 or 2 are just chucking the towel in, aren't they?
Yeah, and they think they also think it's the last fence. You've got then to swing hard right to get the 6, because that's quite a long 6. If you hang about on the 6 and take another one, you could fall into a hole by the collecting ring and have the back bar down. So
exactly.
It's a very unnatural turn.
Anyway, 16 faults, unusual for one of Laura Rennick's. Form best forgotten. Now, following Lorna, Ireland's Billy Toomey. Billy went very well. He was equal second in the 2-face class earlier on. Identical time to the other one, and just behind Laura Kraut, who won the class. Billy went flat out trying to catch her, but 1/10 of a second behind. Now, that's an early mistake. This track is not riding well, is it?
It isn't. No, I think he went on 1 less actually to the second. He came on the 6 strides, but perhaps the horse is just spotting something in the background. People moving. There is a lot to look at here, and that's all you can really say. It's just the character of the ring, and obviously they'll settle to it. But the combination of that and the delicate fences is just causing the trouble.
Let's just watch Billy jump up this line, see how he rides it. This is quite a big horse with quite a big stride, so he should get there on the 5 easy enough. Yeah,
this is a horse that Graham Lovegrove brought out originally.
If he jumps this, they want to jump this on a bit of a forward one, don't they? Like that.
Yeah, so you've got something to hold.
Held him off that, but then a bit short for a long striding horse. It is a bit short in the middle there, isn't it? If you've gone in a bit forward. It's a very tricky line.
And that's what I mean. It's a very unnatural turn to the last. You're almost, the gravity's taking you outside to the left, but you want to go right, and that 6 walks long, and you can see there the horse half dropped off the bridle, and Billy had a bit of a scare at the last.
That would have been a nasty moment, all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it looked a long way on takeoff. But yeah, there's lots to think about in this track. Lots for us to talk about, as long as it doesn't get too boring.
Yeah. So nearly halfway through. We've got 32 starters, and we've got 31 starters, and we've got 1 clear so far from the United States. Constable and Laura Kraut. The other, Lauren this time. 2 great pals. They ride in the same team generally in the Global Champions League team competitions, and have done very well in that. Lauren had a bit of an unfortunate altercation with Cornet in the first round, first class here. Chucked it up a couple of times, had a couple of stops. So she'll be on a retrieval mission with a different horse this time, a dare, Dutch bred mare. Nice mare this is, 12-year-old. Haven't seen her good mare Ola La for a little while. Maybe she's concentrating on other horses at the moment. She's still clear. Chancy stride to that, but jumps it superb. 4, 5, 6 round the corner. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Brilliantly done. Absolutely brilliantly done. Inside the time. That was a class round.
It was great. I thought I'd keep quiet there and watch that finish because that was a real exhibition down that diagonal line and over the double. I mean, you won't see that jump better today or if ever. That was absolutely brilliant.
Galloped into that double on a forward stride and then made, as you'd said, made up the distance so she had something to hold when she got there.
Yeah.
And held her off it, and the mare let her do it brilliantly. That was a superb ride by Lauren Huff.
So 2 Americans clear. They're showing us the way to do to jump this track.
2 clears, both from the United States. While we're on the subject, here's another lady from the States, Jessica Springsteen. Davandi S, another mare, another good mare, 14-year-old mare by Kashmir van Schuttershof. Spent a couple of years with Eugenie Angot, a French rider, French lady rider. This horse.
It's a real winner, Steve. I mean, if you look down the results from Jessica, she's always picking up a win on this horse.
Very fast against the clock, isn't she?
Uses it a lot in the speed classes. 1 round against the clock. Can be a little bit cheeky sometimes and look at things, so I won't talk too much because, you know, he's got so much quality, and with that quality comes just a little bit of cheekiness, and let's hope that it doesn't pick anything to be cheeky about in this track.
Very careful though, isn't she?
Oh, it is. It's a real fighter.
You need a careful horse down this. Let's see what she does here on the 5. Oh, that's second or third rider, I think, that's had that fence down by anticipating that distance.
Yeah, she just took that on to try to eat up the 5 strides when she landed and just hooked it behind. It was a shame.
Pity. Good round.
Look at the time as well. I know the time, you know, isn't really important as long as you're inside it, but 63.75 just shows you how naturally quick that horse is.
Yeah. No wonder she wins classes against the clock. But I mean, as we've both said, you know, that she's just trying to get the distance over that oxer to land forward, land running, and then got something to hold off.
Yeah, it's
the fence when she gets there to that double.
But you've always got to take into consideration. It's funny. I watch snooker sometimes, and it's not just potting the ball; it's leaving the white in the correct place for the next shot.
Exactly.
And it's a little bit with our sport. You know, you're always thinking, well, how you jumped the one before, and how it's going to leave your horse for the next line.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
That's a strange analogy, isn't it?
It is, but it's true though. You've got to be thinking about the next move all the time, or the following fence, haven't you?
Yep.
Because the following fence has influenced now the way you've jumped the previous fence. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Right. David Will from Germany, first of the German riders. Been going very well. 10-year-old stallion. SIEC Copain, Dutch bred.
It's another Tangelo van der Schuthoff. There's quite a lot of horses jumping at this level, you know, by that stallion.
This is a grand model of a horse, isn't he? What a grand big horse he is, isn't he? Look, big, powerful.
Yeah, Bintang is Tangelo, and Billy Angelo is Victoria of Bassam Hassam Mohammed. There's many horses on top level by this stallion, and
this is jumping out of its skin, isn't it? Look at this. He's just gone up there as if it was 120. Superb round there from Germany, and David Will. That was brilliant.
It was. He made it look so easy. Oh. They were chatting away there, but that horse just...
You know, I was watching him down that last line. He jumped so high, wide and handsome over that fence 9.
Yeah, then we're going to see that on the slow
here
motion.
we're going to see it. Look now, he's landed running, Now he's got so much engine, he can just pick him up and hold him off that vertical without losing him.
And it made a shape, didn't even struggle at the height.
Brilliant. Now the class is taking off, thank goodness. I thought we were in trouble at one stage.
Well,
here's a man that's not in trouble. He can do no wrong. Lorenzo De Luca. Limestone Grey, a horse that was with Petronella Anderson and Zoe Conter, and started off with Fra Connors in Ireland, so been around a little bit. This one, 11-year-old gelding by Try Time, owned by Stefek Stables.
I think a lot of people remember this from Dublin last year when it won those classes and the Nations Cup. It's such a cute horse.
But he's having a great run, the man, as well, isn't he? He's number 6 in the world now, and that's no accident, you know, because he's just been doing it so well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he gets a great partnership going with his horses, and you know, gets the crowd liking him too. You know, we saw him at Olympia winning classes, and everybody seems to warm to Lorenzo De Luca. You know, he's just got that likability factor.
A lot of these top riders. Let's watch him jump this.
Oh, had a little bit of a look, but that almost helped him prop, didn't it?
It did help him. It propped away from it and just kept him off it a bit. Oh, a different fence again.
Again,
just another
little look, wasn't it? Yeah. At number 11 as well, and just cheated him out of a clear round.
I was just about to say, you know, the reason that he's wearing a uniform is the Carabinieri or the Air Force or whatever. They're sponsored by the government, they're salaried, but they're not necessarily serving soldiers or airmen, but they are sponsored and supported by the government. They're the government's ambassadors, so it works very well, and you need some support in this job. It's so expensive, as you can imagine. Willie Funnell goes next with Billy Fanta. Nine-year-old mare by his good stallion Billy Congo.
Yeah, Williams, I spotted this horse last year, just Lucy Bunn, or now Lucy Townley. It's Edward Bunn's daughter. She produced this last year, going up to sort of national Grand Prix, and William has taken over the ride and is just sort of finishing the horse now in its sort of experience at the higher level, and this horse is really rising to the occasion. He's a real trier. He's got lots of blood, he's careful, knows where the poles are, and he's had a great sort of upbringing, you know, with Lucy, and a little bit unorthodox sometimes in the canter and the changes, but Williams just struck up a great partnership with it, and not the biggest horse, and one, you know, perhaps you never know where the scope ends, but it's a real trier. You can see
needs to be
very
here.
tight there. Yeah, I think he got tighter to it than he wanted.
See that coming.
You can see what a trier this horse is.
Incidentally, I love that expression you just used. Knows where the poles are.
Yeah, well,
I think that sums it up very well.
You know, I've watched this through. You know, he's really showing people now that this horse has got a little bit more about it than perhaps what first met the eye, and that was a great round. I think, you know, when you look back at that, William was probably thinking he wasn't going to get to that double easily on the 5, but he got there too easy almost. He was there and a little bit tight. So
he did.
That was a great round though.
Surprisingly deep when he got there, wasn't he? Toy Boy goes next with Jessica Mendoza, rider, based in Holland. Toy Boy. A horse that was ridden previously by Penny Gerald, the Belgian rider.
Yeah, I think Jessica's had this since he was 6 or 7 years old, and it's got so much ability, this horse, but can be a little bit awkward to ride at times. But you often see that, you know, that some horses have got this brilliance in them. They've also got the other side of it where they can be a little bit awkward. And Jessica's been busy down in Florida on that circuit, and that's really amazing how long that is. 3 months, and you can get lost down there while the rest of the world goes around. But she's had some good results, and this horse is certainly got the ability to jump these big tracks.
We both get used to walking big courses and difficult courses, and I didn't think this was big when I walked it, but I thought it got progressively more difficult, which is proved with that last line. But you don't get many more difficult lines than that, do you?
No, I think if they built that line in the Grand Prix on Sunday and it was 160, 55-60, that would be a tough ask, I think.
Oh, it would. It's a tough ask today, isn't it, at 150? So that vertical does take a lot of jumping going in. Right, let's see what this man can do with it. Anyway, number 1 in the world. And that's a big order. But he's filled those boots very, very well indeed, and been there for quite a little while now. Kent Farrington from the United States. 2 clears already from the United States. Lauren Huff and Laura Kraut. And David Will, of course, for Germany. That's the 3 clears so far, but Kent Farrington here, he was 3rd in this in 2016. He had a tremendous show here last year. He's not going to win this year. He had a great show here this year. He was 3rd in this class, but he also won the Grand Prix and won the King's Cup, which is the feature class here tomorrow. Gets progressively more tougher as the week goes on here. This is the first really serious 5-star class, first jump-off class. The King's Cup tomorrow, and then of course the Rolex Grand Prix on Sunday.
Jumping really good now. A few have been caught out of that early fence at number 2. And you see it's really propping and getting in the air now. And Kent's having to do a good old rotation with his horses. He's got so many good ones to ride. Often you see him with Credence, which he won last year with. And that's the art of it nowadays, is to be able to rotate and pick your horses for the right shows, isn't it? It's
very much so.
Quite difficult.
Quite a nice horse, that, isn't he? By Cannon. What a super stallion Cannon's been, hasn't he, over the years? Got a lot of top quality horses. Nino de Buissonnet, just to name one Olympic gold medal winning horse. Anyway, still 3 clears. We're now on to number 22. We've just got about 9 or 10 horses left to go. William Whittaker goes next. Fento Chin S. Chestnut, 12-year-old chestnut girl in here by Chin Chin. This one was with Joe Clee for 5 years. So will have had a great education. Very often when you swap one top-class rider for another, you get a good result, don't you?
Yeah, as we've seen with the Tomorrow de Cossin earlier, Williams done a really good job with that. It's got some good results, and the 2 horses from Ludwig Creel in that stable that are real quality, and Williams really enjoying having these rides and doing a great job. Had to really work hard to find some space in front of that Rolex fence because he got quite tight to it. You can just see he's sitting really back in his body, trying to shorten the stride.
He'll certainly have to do that down here, won't he, if he lands running after this Oxer.
Really, wasn't he? Really trying to anchor it off that bar.
Yeah,
but the horse almost leant into it at the same time. Just what he didn't want. He sat up and hoped the horse would sit up too, but it didn't. It sort of leant into it.
The horse just went straight on, didn't it?
Yeah.
Really could have helped him a lot more there, really, in fairness. But, another one falls foul of that very difficult line. Fences 9, 10 and 11.
That's it, when you're clear to sort of fence.
I mean, he didn't just have
fence 9.
A bit of a rub at that, did he? I mean, he was a foot down.
Yeah, you're clear, and then you get 3 fences to go, and you end up with 12 faults. It's sort of
exactly
a little bit disappointing.
Right, now then, the little or not little, but young Italian, Irish, let's get it right, Irish maestro Bertram Allen, number 15 in the world now, Bertram, based in Germany, born in County Wexford, one of 7 children. Father Bertram, Bert Allen, very, very big in the meat industry, lady meats. And what a talent he is, isn't he? Having a tremendous run at the moment. He won 3 international classes in one show a couple of weeks ago. And this is quite a decent horse, formerly ridden by the stable jockey a bit, Jack Dodd, and Bertram. Clear so far, but so had a lot of horses done until they turn in this next corner.
Perhaps he was thinking about the next corner and just had that fence down, but jumped a half decent round before that. So again, you know, we're
that's just what you were saying, James. You know, you can, and what I said as well. You know, you can be clear up till fence 7 or 8, and then finish up with 3 down.
Yeah, it's
3 out of 5.
It's quite disappointing. It's quite depressing, as you know, when you've got that far, you think I'm nearly home, and then you end up with 8 or 12 faults. That started off jumping really well, and just unsettled it towards the end. But
exactly,
we're going to see Bertram have a few different horses. Now Quiet Easy has moved on, and he's got to, you know, work again to get a nice sort of 3 or 4 horses together again. So it never stops. The process never stops. You've just always got to be looking ahead.
Now Abdul Rahman Al Raji, this former Daniel Nielsen ride, British rider Dan. Varro M, 15-year-old by Piero. Still just 3 clears, 2 for the United States, Laura Kraut and Lauren Huff, 1 for Germany, David Will. Just about half a dozen more to go.
He's also had the middle part of the combination. Now it's just reflected on the scoreboard. Yeah, Dan Nielsen had a few good results here with this horse. It was certainly placed in the Grand Prix in past years. He was going to be deep to that oxer. Oh, did well to leave that, really.
He did. But, you know, still 2 fences down in that same line. Poles really falling all over the place, but particularly in that last line, aren't they? You know, that's one of the most difficult lines I think I've seen for quite a while, even in a 150 class. And as you say, if it was 160,
yeah, it would be a real big ask.
Yeah.
Abdul Rahman needed, full marks that he finished that course, because it was a tough line to finish, having had a couple of fences down before.
It was
not easy to wagon round to that last fence.
Now Max Kuhner goes next for Austria, former German rider, now riding for Austria. Cornet Karl Luer, by the great stallion Cornet Obolensky. And these two would know each other very well. This one's been with Max since 2013. Big, scopy sort of a horse. He gets a lot of good results, this man, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he rides very well.
Very good jockey, yeah. Slightly unusual canter, this one. I just saw it come around the corner. It's quite proppy in its canter behind, but you know, neat enough over the fences. Just having the odd tap sort of 3 parts of the combination, but certainly knows how to tap them.
Scopy enough to jump this, I would think. Lovely. Easy, easy. 1 fence for our 4th clear. That was well done, wasn't it?
Very nice, wasn't it? Yeah.
Just inside the time. Not much to spare there, but less than a second, but it was enough, and that's our 4th clear. Beautifully ridden round, wasn't it?
Yeah, the ones that have jumped clear have made it look easy. I mean, perhaps that's that's an obvious thing to say, but Max just made that look, like it was not a particularly tough track.
Look how he's just got the control here to pick the horse's front end up. And look at the height the horse came out over that back rail on that.
Yeah.
Really exploded over
He really trusted it instead of sort of, we've seen a lot of riders leaning back and trying to jump the fence or help the horse jump the fence. Max just sort of eased into it, didn't he? And had a very classic shape through it.
He rode to it as if he knew he was going to jump it almost, didn't he?
Yeah, like you might do sort of just as a double at home, just concentrating on the shape.
Now, one of my favourite riders because he's so versatile, talented, former world number 1 too, Pierre Schwitzer for Switzerland.
Straight away the first fence goes.
That's
and it's going to be a long way round now.
Shoves your heart into your boot straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you've got to jump that last line as well. 4 faults could actually get money this afternoon here, could get a lower place in.
Yeah,
we've still only got the 4 clears and we've only got 5 left to go. We've got 5 good ones, mind you.
Yeah, Jessica Springsteen was the fastest 4, 63.75. I doubt he'll be quite as quick as that.
Yeah, exactly. On a speed horse, really, wouldn't she?
But he's not hanging about, is he?
He's not hanging about, no.
He certainly knows the rules, and he's having a go to get a high place. And he's pretty quick. Not quite as quick.
63.75. No, you're right. He's gone into 6th place, as you can see there. So 5 more to go, 4 clears, a couple of fast 4s. Bit of an unlucky mistake early on there. The treble combination caused very, very little problems this time. It's quite a modest treble. And early on, fence 4, while horses are still fresh. Now, the great Olympic rider. Well, his record would suggest that, wouldn't it? More recently, Eric Lamar's number 4 in the world was individual bronze, of course, in Rio in that memorable jump-off, 6-horse jump-off. With this horse, won by jump-off that was, won by Nick Skelton, of course, with Big Star.
It's a real treat to watch this. We walk the course and say how it's going to be ridden, and then it's interesting to see Eric take 8 to the first to the second, and then take 7 to the combination. That's totally different to the way a lot of people have been riding, but he just does it.
He does it his way, doesn't he?
Yeah, that just shows you, this.
And he's so hands-on and so competitive, isn't he?
Yeah, there's nothing set about this game. You just interpret it differently and how your horse feels.
2, 3, 4, 5. Come here, he says. Woo. Talk about hands-on. That was carrying all the way, but she's a good mare, this mare, fine lady.
Oh,
and a lovely round there. There'll be nothing won this afternoon till he's gone in the jump-off. And look how quick that was, 62.25. Although he was clear, and he's a second and a half faster than Jessica Springsteen. It was a very quick 4.
It's a real treat for everybody here to see this combination, Eric Lamar's and Fine Lady, because we watch them, every week or so at this top level, and it's a really special treat to see him jump. They're so successful.
She's going to take a lot of beating today. We'll see, but that's how I see it. 4th clear. 5 now with Eric, 4 before him. Mark Hoetzager goes next for the Netherlands. Equal second in the previous class. Now he rides Sterrenhof's Calimero, Dutch-bred gelding, 10-year-old by another one by Kidam de Revel. Another rider with Olympic experience. He jumped off for the bronze medals in Olympic Games with his great old horse Opium.
And of course, he had the good horse Sterrenhof's Tamina.
He's had some good horses over the years, and he produces good horses, doesn't he?
He's a stayer. He's we know how difficult it is in this sport to keep in there, and he keeps chipping away, and he's often on the championship team, and you know, he's winning Grand Prix, picking up money, second in the first class, and that's how he does it.
That was beautifully ridden down there, wasn't it? He just sat so still on that last stride, gave the horse time to jump it, let the horse think his way through that line. That was a superb round, less than half a second inside the time.
Yeah, it's well judged, but yeah, great round. He's a real horseman, isn't he? Real worker, real show jumper.
He is. He's a real tradesman as well. He's very talented, tall, very strong. He could ride anything except a pony type horse, really. He'd look a bit out of place on one of those. Rides big horses as well as anybody on the circuit. Anyway, 6 clears now. Just about right, isn't it, really? Good percentage. Khalid Hilal Al Khatri goes next for Bahrain. Sierra, Hanoverian mare, 12-year-old. 2 more to go after this one. Quite a good crowd here this afternoon. That grandstand to our right there is pretty full. Not many people in the Royal box, but it will be on Sunday afternoon, that's for sure.
Well, so far this is jumping a really good round. It's a real sparky horse, isn't it? It's a real punchy sort of ride. And,
it is, yeah.
He's doing a good job.
He is doing a good job. He's really measuring every fence. Now, you need to measure these last 5 fences. Oh, wasn't going to happen, was it?
No, I just sort of seemed to just relax and lean into it a little bit too much, but I'm well impressed with the round he's given it.
Yeah, strangely enough, got a time fault, and you wouldn't think that he was hanging about, would you?
No, I think probably the second part of the course is a little bit slower, but he's had a few results recently in Abu Dhabi. He was 3rd in the Grand Prix, and of course he was here last year at Windsor, so he's getting a bit of experience, but that was a good round. Started off really well.
Six clears and 7 with 4. And 2 more to go. John Whittaker goes next with, as you can see, Cassini's Chaplain, a Holstein gelding. 9-year-old by Cassini. John was 2nd in this class last year, but with his other horse, with Argento. Well, another one had that early mistake.
They're quite fanned, those 2 fences. It's a 7, but it's a 7 on a curve. And that's why you see Eric Lamar's sort of used the bend to take the extra stride.
It's a good ploy, isn't it, really, to keep a horse up together, keep him on a short round stride, because they certainly need it round here. The farther they go, the more they need to be on a good rounded stride and have the front end up in the air, don't they?
Yeah, this is a real jumper, isn't it? I mean, John is really having to sit to some of these jumps. It's a real big, extravagant,
great powerhouse
sort
of a horse, isn't it?
Fairground jump, isn't it? Look at that.
Yeah.
He rides all sorts, doesn't he, John?
He can ride anything, can't
rode
he?
about sort of 10 different horses in Spain. He's just phenomenal. Look at that.
What a super round, but just one down early on. Unfortunate.
Well, Piers Schwitzer had the first down and jump clear, and John's had the second down and jump clear.
Yeah,
and, aggravating.
Do you know that horse? I haven't seen it before.
Well, I haven't seen John on it, but I've seen it in the results. But it's it's owned by Claire Conlon and Claire Whittaker. But it's I've not seen it
A lot of ability, isn't it?
As much as his others.
Anyway, one more to go, and a very good one too. Ben Mayer. This horse Tic Tac that was with Leslie Burr-Howard for a while, and 2 years with Jerome Drury as well, so this one's been well ridden, as it will be in the next minute and a half. Tic Tac, a stallion, 14-year-old by Clinton, out of a Darko mare. 6 clears, 8 fours, and the fastest of those at the moment who will be in the prize money is Jessica Springsteen. Pierce Fitzer following her. But a real good jump off in prospect here. We've got some classy horses and riders here to entertain the crowd in this first major jump off of the week. Ben Mayer clear so far.
Yeah, it would be nice to get a British rider in there. 5 clears.
It would.
Nice Ben to make it 6.
Now we've got 6 now, haven't we?
Is it 6?
Yeah.
Oh, 7 then.
Okay. He's some coachman, this fella, isn't he? The way he rode that horse up there, then, that was just total ability. That's a lovely round from Ben Mayer. That is 7.
Yeah, that was real class. It's just what we were talking about, you know, jumping that oxer into the double and making up the 5 strides, so you've got support as you jump the double. But that was really smooth and classy from Ben. And 7 clears, and that's, you know, maybe we could have done with a couple more, but that's certainly not a bad number of horses to get in a jump off. And I think the course builders, although they set a tough task, they've still got the 7 clears, and that's certainly not bad out of 31 starters.
I would think so. You know, I mean, he's got 7 clears out of 31 starters, so you know they'd be there. They are. The course designer Kelvin Bywater, he'd be aiming at around about 25% clear, so he's not far away, is he really?
No, I mean, we all love jump offs, and I'm you know, once it starts, you always want to see one more, you know, when it's a thrilling jump off.
Exactly.
But it's just enough there to get stuck into, but real class
2
lineup,
for the
isn't
States
it?
there. First 2 to go there. 1 for Germany, 1 for Austria, Canada, the Netherlands, and 1 for Britain. And you'd be hard pushed to pick the winner there. I'm going for Eric Lamar's.
I was going to say that you've gone for the hot favourite.
Yeah, and I suppose he would be on all known form. But, you know, interestingly, James, Laura Kraut would be very quick, and Lauren Huff could be quick. They've got to try and win this from the front, which is not going to be that easy. And we'll see. Let's just stop trying to predict it and just enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you know, if you went on who jumped one of the nicest clear rounds, Laura Kraut's horse jumps superb, and looked at real fast, snappy horse. But then when you see Fine Lady in there and Eric Lamar's, they're the fastest combination, really, one of the fastest combinations. Then you would obviously think he'd be favourite. But Ben Mayer, last to go with Tic Tac, he's certainly not going to let this one slip away if he can help it. So
interesting jump off, isn't it? Fence 14, a new fence at fence 14 is the first,
yeah,
and then to 12, the last fence. So the fence 14 is the Rolex fence there, down in front of the Royal Box, and then they turn right-handed and jump the last fence at fence 12, then a new.
I'm here with Michael Whittaker. Now, that was a lovely round. Gutted, just that one down.
Yeah, that's a little bit what happens, you know, you touch one fence and sometimes it stays up and sometimes it comes down, you need a bit of luck. But I was very happy the way she jumped, and it's good for Sunday.
Now, it's been a tough course, hasn't it? Just 7 clears. What was going on out there?
No, it's just tough. It's a 5-star show, you expect tough course, and it was tough, you know. It's still got 7 clears, so it's not a bad average. You know, that's about what you would expect for this kind of a course, so it was good.
And obviously we've got a Brit in there, which is always nice, isn't it?
Yeah, luckily, last to go.
Just right in the end, they got in there. Can you just talk us through the jump off? Now, you're saying it's quite twisty, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's actually not so bad. You start with the Rolex there, then you go to number 2, and number 1 backwards. I think it's 7, back to the first part of the double, to the combination. You know, that's going to be quite a tight turn, and then gallop to the last. I think it's one of them courses that the draw's going to depend on a lot, you know. So ones at the end of the draw have probably got the better chance, obviously, because they can see the others go. So I would say like Eric Lamaza or Ben. You know, Ben's got the best draw. He should have a good chance. He's horsed up very well, so hopefully.
So money's on Ben.
Yeah.
All right, come on, Ben. Thank you so much for talking to us. Cheers. Thank you.
Well, righto, Ben is Michael's choice. I've gone for Eric Lamar's. You've got any other ideas, Jimmy?
I think Laura
We've
Crouch,
picked
she's not
the two
got the
plums.
best draw. She's first to go, but at least she knows what she's going to do. And like Michael said, it's sort of twisty, but not that bad. We've got one new fence, which is 14. Then straight ahead, really, well, slightly to the right, we've got that big oxer, which was the last fence in the first round, number 12. And then number 1 backwards, which is fence 15. And that's now an oxer instead of a vertical. And then diagonally across to the fence with the swans beside it, which was number 7. And then around through the middle, bang in the middle of the whole arena is fence 10, that wishy-washy vertical, which was the first part of that nasty double that we spent most of the first round talking about. And then a swing right to the first 2 parts of the treble combination, and then quite a long line. Now that was 7 in the first round when the last element of the combination was there, so that is going to be possibly 8 strides to the last if they're really motoring on. So everything's spread out really. If you think how that's lined out around the arena, that's a lot of running to do.
They put that last fence up a fair bit, that one.
Yeah, and it's quite a dare to the last.
That was fence 5, it was the one after the treble combination. That's Kelvin Bywater there with the measuring stick in his back pocket.
They'll be working in and out the riders. I mean, when you walk a course the first round, you should really walk the jump off, but not many of us do. That will be probably 40 yards or something from the last part of that double to the last fence. And
there's a stride to be taken out there if you're brave enough to gallop at it.
That's right. It's going to be 8 down there.
Yeah.
And, you know, you don't want to be reaching too much with that big oxer, but there's a few nasty verticals. But I think Laura Kraut will give a very good display.
I think sometimes, you know, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, I think can be to your advantage to go on a good horse, to go first, like Nick Skelton did in Rio in the jump off, first of 6. Nick there, Laura's partner, ironically, went as fast as he could go within his comfort zone and hoped it was good enough, and it was. You know, sometimes you're right, it's better off to go at the speed you want to go and as fast as you can go without the speed you have to go to win the class.
No, you're dead right, and we often see that the one who goes first can win it, and I was in Mexico and the same thing happened. It got nailed right at the front. So Laura having a final look round before she just approaches number 1, and this is critical from the start. She wants to get a nice strong line to the second fence. 8 strides, I think that'd be the standard sort of measurement down there. Well across the middle, and she's motoring all the way. Oh, it's a horrible vertical actually to come to, and the horses naturally tend to lean into the left. All these fences need jumping, and that's something that's we've got to take into consideration. This is not just about speed. Taken 9 to the last. She already had 1 down. I think just swung wide just to add that stride. It didn't really want to take a bit of a flyer at the last, having had 1 down. So there's a fair bit of jumping to do there. She was round in 40.82 and 4 faults. We're going to see faster times, but are we going to see too many clears? It is. I think the one that Laura had down, the one with the swans, that's fence 7 now. It's a pretty nasty fence. You know that you're going to angle left, and the horses sort of anticipate that and lean into it. Yeah, and it's a spooky fence anyway with the swans. It's just not nice. Yeah, she's taken 7 to the second fence. That's 1 less than Laura Kraut took. Yeah, this has got a huge. It's got a huge stride. Yes, coming on the 8 strides. That was a great round. Got absolute monster of a stride. I mean, Lauren didn't look like she was ever sort of pushing or shoving. She was just letting it cruise because it just ate up the ground. And yeah, I think with only 7 in the jump off and getting a clear round like that, that's something now for the others to catch. And I think so, but you know, he knows he's going to, you know, if he has one down, he wants to make sure he's quick. So he's gonna have a crack at it. Yeah, you wouldn't want to be a slow 4 today. Yeah, but David, he's fast. He's taking strides out and he's moving. Yeah. This is quick. This is going to be a good second, maybe 2.5 seconds quicker than Lauren Hoff. Oh, and a real tight turn to the double. That is fast. I mean, you know, you can't take any less strides than David did there. He absolutely took the tightest course and took strides out. I mean, that's going to be very, very hard to beat. He took 8 to the last, but everywhere else he was moving, and he took a real chance into the double. Yeah, but from there then to the purple, what was a triple combination, which I refer to as a double now, he took a real chance there. Got a much, little bit shorter stride, Max Kuhner's horse. Very careful and deliberate in the way it does it, but it's got a much shorter stride, and he's not quite covering the ground in the same way, but he's taken a tight course, and he's pretty tight into this double. It's going to be close. Close. The clock seems to run on, doesn't it? He jumped, that clock just seemed to tick on a little bit more. I thought he would be a bit closer to the time than that, but I think that was just purely the length of stride, really. That horse is just not naturally as quick. But he did a cracking round. Yeah. Yeah, it's a. I would say it's just the verticals, really. There's a couple of verticals there that you can't really take. You can't blast at them, no. And anyway, you know, there's a couple of good rounds there to fire at. So we're only going to see riders really take it on now. And She's a little bit unorthodox, but just does the job when she gets there. She's got a slightly odd canter. But Eric doesn't seem to worry Eric at all. He just runs it, sits against, and she gets out of the way. Oh, but that was a bit of a lucky rub. Just. Oh, bit of a flap of the arms, and he squeaked it. Yeah. He's so fast across the fence, isn't he, Eric Lamars and Fine Lady. She just does the job when she gets there. Oh, look at that. Yeah, he's such an exciting rider to watch, isn't he? He's got the great body language, gets his shoulders forward. You just know he's going to do a job. Yeah. He's got no choice, has he? He's just got to go for it. He's hugging the right side of the fences, but he's had that down, so. Just sometimes, if you know your horse isn't quite as quick, it sometimes dampens your enthusiasm. You've got the crowd expecting you to do, a wander round and get into the lead, and sort of deep down you just know you're not actually on the right horse for it. I think so. I think Mark would have probably felt that he didn't really want to tear it apart, but didn't expect to bump the second out, but it was all over then. Ben's going to have a good look at this course now and get this into his head, because he would love to win this class. Yeah, he's last to go. He's on home soil, and it's got Eric Lamars and Fine Lady. One of the best combinations in the world, and Ben's a real winner and a fighter, and this is a great opportunity. He's not come as straight to the first as the others have done. This horse has got a big stride, hasn't it? Yeah, he's really moved off the leg there. This is the one to jump. And he's done it. Now he's got to dare it into this double. Go on, Ben. He's got him. Oh, 37.23. He's done it. And that's a class win, and that's just fantastic for the crowd. A British win. Yeah, that's really great for Ben. I mean, he's had a tough time. He's chipping away, trying to put his string back together, and to do this on home soil at Royal Windsor Horse Show is fantastic. That was it was there to be won, but it was a tough ask to beat Eric Lamars and Fine Lady, but he rose to the challenge, and that was just pure class. Yeah, no, he's got a great head on his shoulders. He doesn't get affected too much by nerves at all. Yeah.
have asked Ben's groom if we can get Ben. So I'm just going to go and get him, and then we'll do a quick interview presentation.
That was a great jump off, and it sort of just, climaxed just right, didn't it? And I had that feeling when Ben came in, it was in his mind today. He could have done what he needed to win, and it's great that he can show this crowd that he's still there, and he's putting his string back together, and it won't be long before he climbs back up the world rankings and gets back to where he was. He was unfortunate to lose a couple of his good horses together, like Sulla, and he's had horses off. Diva's been off a little bit, so it's been tough, and he's had to work at a lot of horses. He's got good owners. He's got Don Vito to ride, but to get the win today is really great for the crowd, great for him, and he made it a really exciting class.
Well, that was amazing. At one point, we didn't think we were going to get a jump off. We got a jump off, an amazing jump off, and a British win. So well done, Ben. That was really spectacular.
Thank you. Tic Tac's had a bit of a rest and just been building them up the beginning of the year, and great to finally get a win. Jane Clark, his owner, flew over from America, and it's always great to ride at home in England.
There were some incredible turns. I mean, what a horse. I mean, that was a big spread, and you took a stride out.
Yeah, I didn't feel too good, to be honest. I saw a stride from a really long way back when I turned after the Oxford before, and when I got there, it was a little bit further away than I thought, but I think that's where it gave me the edge over Eric. That's an amazing horse and rider, so congratulations to him, but luckily it worked for me today.
It was absolutely phenomenal, and to put you in a good position, I guess, for the Grand Prix.
Yes, I've got 3 good horses here this week, so I'll save Tic Tac for Sunday now, and use a couple of the other horses for the classes tomorrow.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. We're so thrilled for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, a great win there for Ben, and he would take 1/3 of €52,500. So I'll leave other people to work out the net sum in sterling. But a good afternoon to work for Ben Mayer anyway, and his owner, American owner, will be very pleased to have witnessed that. And augurs well for him. As he said, he's got 3 very good horses here, and you need 3 or 4, 2, 3, 4 horses at this level, Jimmy, to keep. You can't go to the well too often with a horse and keep them fresh, and keep them jumping, keep them up in the air, and keep them enthusiastic. So if you've got a good team, you've got a better chance, haven't you?
That's right, and then you've got to just put them in the right classes and plan your show right from the beginning to the Grand Prix. And all these riders must be scratching their heads and thinking hard what horse they put in which class. And obviously you can't put your best horse always in the biggest class, because you can't keep going at it. Like you said, you can't keep going to the well too often, but Ben's put Tic Tac in the big class today and won it, and now he can give it a day off and go in the Grand Prix. So that's great planning, and it's worked in his favour. No, I'm really pleased for him, and fantastic class. I really enjoyed it, and it's great to see Eric Lamar's there in Fine Lady. He wasn't last to go today, so he did what he had to do. Ben knew he had to take that chance, and he just said, from 2 to 3, he saw a stride and went for it, and it got the crowd really oohing and ahhing, and I think that really set him up for the rest of the round.
Do you think that, difficult question perhaps to answer really, but do you think that if Ben Mayer and Eric Lamar's had gone in the opposite order, that it would have made any difference to the game?
It could have done, but it could be wrong also to say that. That's why it's a little bit controversial. Could Eric have given a bit more? Maybe, but you're only talking about
a third of a second.
That's right. Nothing in it really. But
Nothing.
I think Ben won that by taking that chance across the diagonal, had a super turn into the last double, and just sheer determination to win this class took him over the line. And
he won it over the last 2 fences, didn't he?
Yeah, there is an advantage in a jump off like that if you're last to go, and that last position you just know what you have to do, and you've got to give it your all. It's possible that Eric could have maybe just given that little bit extra and won it, but yeah, this is the way the draw is, and Ben made advantage of it, and that's the way it is.
If you go back to Rio, because it's fresh on all of our minds. We'll just watch Ben get these rosettes in a minute. But Eric Lamar's there was virtually last to go, or probably was last to go in the 6th jump-off for the individual gold medal in Rio. But Nick had made him go that fast that it caused him to have a fence down. So it's academic really, because if he'd gone later on in this, he might have had a fence. Who knows?
Yep.
But it's nothing detracts from what was a superb win for this very, very good British rider. And a good horse is as good as any in the world. And he showed that today, because to me that was a brilliant, absolutely brilliant jump off from end to end. But a brilliant performance from him. You could tell his body language and his thought process when he came in the ring, the way he was concentrating on thinking exactly where he was going, to think, where can I win this, wasn't he?
Yeah, there was a certain mood about him as he came in. He looked at that course and he thought, this is it. There's a great opportunity here to beat Eric Lamar's. First day of the show, great crowd, and it was wonderful that he's won it. And for the owner, Jane Clark, put so much into the sport, and very lucky to have Ben as a jockey, and he's doing a great job. But it's tough. I walked the course with him today. We can just listen to what he says.
It's always good to have a win. You've been jetting around the world for the last few months, but it's always good to have one on home soil.
Definitely is. I didn't come to Windsor last year, but great to be back here, and great to have a win on Tic Tac. He jumped great last year, but we didn't get too many opportunities to use him in the Grand Prix with the Olympics, so hopefully we can have some fun.
Well, you're having a lot of fun already. You finished ahead. In second place, Eric Lamar's with Fine Lady 5, one of the fastest pairings on the planet.
Absolutely. It's great to see this level of competition in Great Britain, and riders like Eric and many others here this week. Just proves we can put on as good a show as any.
Well, you put on a great show. Congratulations, Ben, getting the first British win on the cards. Very well done, Ben Mayer.
Yeah, I was just saying that, Ben, I walked the course with him today, and we spoke about that difficult double and a few things. I just said how tough it must be, as great as it seems to a lot of people, that they're travelling the world, jumping at these amazing locations, and how much pressure there is. And he said, yeah, it is tremendous pressure, and it's not for everybody. And
a superlative a jockey as Ben Mayer is, there'd be another 50 in the world like him, at least. They're only split up by what they're riding.
That's
really.
right, and it all comes down to Graham Fletcher wrote a great piece in the Horse and Hound, and I think it was to do with Nick Skelton in his career, and it said, when you're not fishing, you need to be mending your nets, meaning that when you're not in the ring, you've got to be working at finding other horses to ride. And I thought that was a great piece, and that's exactly what these guys have got to do all the time, mend their nets.
Exactly, thinking of the future. Anyway, thinking of the future, let's think about tomorrow afternoon. Do join us for the King's Cup here, the King of Bahrain Cup here, and if it's as good a jump off as that tomorrow afternoon, we'll be very privileged, because that was a top-class jump off there by some of the best in the world. Really thrilled the crowd, and a great performance from the man just about to leave the ring now, Ben Mayer from Great Britain, and a superb afternoon sport. Thank you everyone for your company. Jimmy, thank you for your input, which was great as usual, and we look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.